Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Blake Ruffino. This is Are You Serious Sports. We hope that you're making it a good one. We know that we are as well. I got to start off by saying this. I got to check and see if we got the stars. Do we have stars down there by our name? I think we might have just been monetized by Facebook. If not, we're going to be doing that soon. We're trying to do the stars, y'all, so y'all can send a brother a penny every now and then for some content. But nevertheless, we're going to have a good show in store for you tonight. We got a lot to get into. I probably might get a little heated. Actually, I know I'm probably going to get really heated. Why everyone needs to start putting a little bit more respect on Coach O's name. I know what he said in that interview yesterday. I get it. I understand it. I know. We'll talk some football. We'll talk some sprint. You better start putting some respect on that man's name. I'm just going to let you know that right now. We're going to get to that in just a second. Also, Zach Pearson, former LSU baseball pitcher Zach Pearson, joins us. He used to join us on Thursdays. He's moved over to Wednesdays because of some scheduled stuff that he had to get going and move around some stuff. But he's going to join us tonight. I'm really looking forward to Zach Pearson joining us around 7:20. We're going to talk a little baseball. What can they do to rebound? And we'll talk about this with Zach, and also she'll be start questioning Paul Mainieri. Shannon Williams on Facebook Live says, and we are live. I think that's our slogan now, right? I might need to get shirts made, really nice shirts made that says, and we are live. Lamar Williams says, yo, what's good tonight? Lamar, what's happening? Craig Schilling says, and we are live. I think that might be our trademark. Craig Schilling says, we got a star. How about that? Y'all send a brother over some pennies. Literally, hit that penny, hit that star, give a brother a penny or two. And as always, let's see, Angela says, go Tigers. Peggy Red, who helped me with, or her daughter Megan helped me with finding out about the stars on Facebook. She's joining us. Adam Contreras says, boom, let's get it. John Adam says, Canes tonight with the chicken fingers. Okay. You guys can hear me. I hope so. Chase Orgeron says, tell him, Blake. All right, well, we're about to put some respect on Coach O's name in just a second. But before we get started, guys, we got to thank our good partners over at Believe Podcast and our sponsors for all of our audio podcast, eBay. Guys, go over to eBay for everything that you need. They will have it. We thank our sponsors over at eBay. We're going to have some big news coming Monday. Really looking forward to Monday as we have some big news from the podcast, as we have our second corporate sponsor that's going to be joining the team. So we're really looking forward to that. But before we get to Coach O and the respect on his name, we got to pay some bills around this thing. And you guys got to go see my friends over at GM Varno & Sons. GM Varno & Sons has faithfully been serving your Denham Springs and Baton Rouge area for over 62 years. With their highly trained technicians, there's absolutely nothing that they can't do. RV repair, big rig overhauls, motorhome chassis, truck repairs, routine maintenance, tire rotations, tire sales. No job is too big or too small over at GM. Give them a call today at 225-664-9992. That's 225-664-9992. And tell them Blake Ruffino at AYS sent you on by. For the #1 real estate team in the North Shore, go to team.kw.com. That's team.kw.com. Tell them Blake Ruffino sent you by any one of their great real estate agents. Give them a call today at 985-467-7355. That's 985-467-7355. And tell them Blake Ruffino at AYS sent you on by. Okay, so we got some 50 cents. All right. The stars are working. We making money up in this thing. We monetized, y'all. That's a big deal. I'm excited. Y'all, I'm really excited. Thank you to John Adam. Thank you to Craig Schilling. Thank you guys for doing that. All right. I see that we got some stars. I appreciate that, guys, because I ain't got no idea what I'm doing. I just come on here and talk a little bit. Let's get to this. Kenny says on Facebook Live, Lady Moscona ridiculed Orgeron for owning up to his mistake. Very sad. So let's start here, okay? I'm not going to rip on the host. I'm not going to rip on people, but why we need to start putting some more respect on Ed Orgeron's name. You guys know that I've been a little critical on Ed Orgeron at times for on-the-field stuff. In 2015 and 2016, media members were complaining and bitching, like literally bitching, because Les Miles wouldn't let anybody know what was going on. They begged and they pleaded and they asked the good Lord above, Please, dear God, please give us a head coach that's open and honest. And then the man comes in 2016 and quite honestly saves you a season. In 2017, yeah, they had a step back. They lost to Troy. The following week, they came out and put the smack it down all over Florida. Then what would happen? Yeah, they would go 9-4. The following season in 2018, yeah, something interesting happened in 2018. There's this guy. God, what's his name? Oh, that's right, Joe Burrow. He would leave Ohio State. He would get recruited by Ed Orgeron. By the way, you got to go read Ed Orgeron's book that was by Bruce Feldman. Flip the script on the recruiting of Joe Burrow. It's otherworldly. What Ed Orgeron did to get Joe Burrow on campus has nothing to do. Ed Orgeron's the reason Joe Burrow stepped on LSU's campus. Yeah, did some people talk to him and tell him about Joe Burrow? Did his son Cody Orgeron tell him that Joe Burrow was going to be a damn good quarterback? Yeah, but he got him here. In 2019, what happened? Funny, because that same guy, Joe Burrow, won a national title. He won a Heisman. You had the best team of all time in 2019. Yes, COVID-19, a worldwide pandemic happened in 2020. The man goes 5-5, but with two true freshman starting quarterbacks because Miles Brennan gets hurt again. A guy that's been here since the Obama administration can't go out there on the field. He's replacing 24 guys that had starts and first-round picks, 14 guys drafted. Yes, he goes 5-5. And yes, there should be some ridicule behind them going 5-5. That's unacceptable. But when you have an agenda to attack your head coach of the LSU Fighting Tigers, and you say, oh, you guys are just sitting here. You don't know me. I can do this to Ed Orgeron. It is your agenda. It bothers me to my core that everybody in the media, and if you want to throw me in there, I don't give two Rudy Poos. But everyone in the media talks so bad about everybody that's the head coach. Les Miles had criticism. Nick Saban, for crying out loud, had criticism. You want your man, you want a man from Louisiana to succeed, then you back Ed Orgeron. If that day comes where we got to fire him, then God be it, it will happen. You want to talk about Ed Orgeron and all the bad things he said in the media? What did he say? Oh, Jabril Cox looks to be like a really good player. He's going to be a second-round pick. You want to put out videos of the one thing that he gets wrong? Nick Saban's out there telling people that people in the media are rat poison, and you think it's funny and you chuckle. I don't get how we can sit here as LSU fans and not want a man from Louisiana to succeed. At some point, guys, I'm just going to let you know this. I'm tired of coming on here and doing this. Take the media for what they are. Ed Orgeron addresses the media. He doesn't address the media. Stop with that Rudy Poo. Stop it. He's addressing the 5, 6, 7, 8 million LSU fans that are out there listening to him. You just so happen to be there. He's saying that to LSU. He's not saying that to you. The man was vulnerable and opened up and said, listen, guys, I made a mistake. I made a mistake. I did not interview Bo Pelini. You want to know the deep down? You want to pull the curtain back? He didn't one-on-one interview Bo Pelini. What's he going to say? Pete Carroll says, hey, he's a really good guy. Oh, by the way, every coach has made moves. Dave Aranda went to Baylor. Joe Brady went to Carolina. And quite honestly, Matt Rule going to Carolina is the same reason why Dave Aranda left. How does a man perfect a season? How does a man perfect? And look, I don't like coming out here always defending Ed Orgeron. I'm not an Ed Orgeron defender. But don't contradict yourself and say all of this Rudy Poo shit about Ed Orgeron to fit your agenda because you want him fired because he slapped you on the wrist because he told you you couldn't come to a media service. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. You want to know why? Let me tell you something. You want to know why LSU fans and why LSU doesn't succeed? Because they're not one team, one heartbeat. Not everybody's rowing the boat in the same direction. It's not happening. When you have media constantly beating down the shit out of your head coach. Colin Thibodeau says on Facebook Live, take them stars and shine, bub. Yeah, we got the. If you guys see the stars, you can hit the star. We can get some pennies around this thing. John Adams says it perfectly. He says, "Man, Ed is straight up. He tells you the truth. Do you want for once you have a head coach? For once you have a head coach that's open and honest with you. What head coach in the country is going to open up the curtain and tell you, hey, guy, basically Ed Orgeron yesterday was telling you this, and as humble as he could be, guys, I made a mistake. I'm going to get it right. And you know what? He damn sure did. You know, good pieces of crap that are going out there on a hot mic, ridiculing the guy about an interview. You've never coached a day in your life. And if you want to know the truth, if all the listeners, of all 191 people that are watching us right now live on 3 platforms, Periscope, Facebook, and YouTube, if everyone wants to know, you didn't even play football in high school. To the people who never played football in high school, to the guys who don't know what zone blocking schemes is from an offensive line standpoint, you want to take the direction of this guy telling you what's going on in football and on the field. Stats don't mean shit when you don't know football. I'm going to tell you that. And that's the God's honest truth, because you want to know the truth? I'm being open and honest here too. I'm being as humble as I can. I hate seeing a Louisiana man who's fighting for his dream job, who brought you back to the mountain, who beat Alabama, who brought Joe Brady in, who literally was getting Sean Payton Popeye's chicken. Mike Detillier on this show, came on here and said one day he went to a practice and Joe Brady was getting Sean Payton Popeye's chicken. He brought that guy in. Nobody else did. And it seems as Ed, for whatever reason, takes all of the blame, but he never takes any of the praise because he doesn't want it. And the one time he messes up and he tells you what he thinks, you go out there and attack. Shame on you, man. And then now you want to bring up all of this stuff about F. King Alexander and Les Miles and all of these people. You want to blame it on Ed Orgeron. I'm going to get to the comments right after this, right after I say this, because I see a lot of them flying in. If you want to blame Ed Orgeron for what happened under Les Miles, that's your prerogative. Well, you know what you should do? If you want to talk about F. King Alexander resigning at Oregon State, and if you want to talk about Verge Alsbury and Miriam Singer having a job at LSU, you know who you should ultimately point that finger at? Athletic Director Scott Woodward too. You should look at Scott Woodward in the face and say, hey, man, you should do more. But, you know, you're going to put the shit on Ed Orgeron, but you're not going to put it on a graduate of Catholic High. Catholic High! You don't want to put it on a guy that comes on your show and talks to you, do you? And that's not a slight at Scott Woodward. I think that man did what he thinks and believes to be correct. But if you're going to attack Ed Orgeron because he got mad at you because you wanted Tom Herman, and quite honestly, here's the funny thing about all of this. Tom Herman is not a better coach than Ed Orgeron. Not a head coach. We literally saw it on the field. Ed Orgeron put the smack it down to Tom Herman. He sucks. Your take sucked. All right. Matt D says, give him a year or two. You got to get the personnel. We all say that, but you lose players year in and year out. And look, I hate to say it like this. Saban is the best for a reason. Okay? Being on top of that mountain is not easy. Climbing up it and not being the hunted and being the hunter is much easier. Garrett says, who's throwing shade on Coach O? Well, I'm going to let you guys figure that out. If you want to put it in the comments, let the people know who is doing it. That name's not coming out of my mouth. But see, here's the funny thing. People will come up my ass. People are going to come at my ass tonight, and I'm going to get it all over social media. Blake, why are you doing this? I can't believe, why are you doing this? So you mean to tell me that people can go after Coach O, but I can't go after the person talking about Coach O? Think about that. So if you want to get really upset, if you want to get really, really upset at Blake Ruffino, that's fine. But it's funny when you can attack a man who's kind of, and here's the thing, Ed Orgeron's a little defenseless. He can't run out there and say what he thinks. He did, and look what happened. They crucified him. Holden Lee says, ask Blake, what happened with Lockature leaving? Look, I hear a multitude of things on Lockature. There is some, and look, Mike Scarborough from TigerBait.com. Let's see if I have this right here. Mike Scarborough from TigerBait.com broke the news about Christian Lockature. I think that you guys could go there and find out more. I mean, obviously, him not getting the on-field position is probably a big reason. And look, those guys, I'm just going to be honest, those individuals like a Christian Lockature are always targets for big business. They always have been. Always have been. Josh Miley says facts. Garrett says F Saban. I'm with you. Like, look, I'm with you. But you're talking about one of, if not arguably, the best coach of all time, right? Like, and he went to Tuscaloosa when no one else could do it and beat Alabama for you. Remember that feeling you had when LSU beat Alabama? Yeah, because a lot of you were at the airport giving a handshake to Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Joe Burrow. The man that assembled that team, you want to know what his name was? Edward freaking Orgeron. Bay. Nick Guidry says, I love Blake's fire. Hell yeah, go Tigers. Well, look, somebody's got to say it, man. I mean, because no one in the corporate media is going to run out there and talk and defend Ed. And look, here's another thing, too. There are going to be times that on the field that Ed might need to have some criticism. That is football. That is what we do on here on this podcast. But you calling for a man to be fired after he's literally 1 year removed from winning a national title. Be careful with that, man. Look how long it took Auburn to get back. Look how long it took Miami to come back. Oh, wait, they're not. Mac Brown at Texas. Oh, look how long it took them to get back. They're not. Be careful what you wish for. You wish, these people wished for an open and honest coach, and then he does what he does. There's a reason we didn't bring it up on here on this show, because I knew what Ed Orgeron meant. What Ed Orgeron fully meant was like, hey, man, I knew about these coaches. Look, I'm going to tell you something very honest. Do you think Nick Saban interviewed Bill O'Brien? No. Understand that. He might have talked to him a little bit, but not a formal sit down. I will almost damn near confirm that. Juice Washington says, ask Blake, we not going to appreciate Coach O until he's gone. The man won a championship or ship and gets dragged like he's a loser. That is what it just, again, we can give him a little bit of criticism, but I mean, that is the biggest thing to me, guys, that I just don't understand. Yes, you went 5-5. I get him. I get it. I fully get it. Tim Graves says, get him, Blake. Well, look, somebody's got to. Kenny says, Ed Orgeron learned from his mistakes from the past, and he's had success at LSU so far because he put his ego to the side and was authentic. I believe in Coach O running the program, and I do too. I'm going to have faith in Coach O. I'm going to do it. Here's another thing. Ed Orgeron literally wrote a book about himself, or had a book written about himself because people wanted to, and he talked about his failures at Ole Miss and what he would do differently. He comes to LSU, guess what? He implements it. He has a short setback. By the way, guys, and I just want to let this be clear. In year 4 of Nick Saban, or was it year 3, year 4? Yeah, year 3. At the year after the first championship of him winning a title, Nick Saban twice, after both of his 2 national titles, the one at LSU and the one at Alabama, if it wouldn't have been for some fluff games, if it wouldn't have been for some games that UL Monroe and Louisiana Tech and McNeese State, if it wouldn't have been for those games on both of those schedules at Alabama and LSU, he would have gone 5-5. He had 3 or 4 losses at Alabama and had 4 at LSU. He was given an impossible hand. I don't like, and I hate talking politics, and I'm not going to talk politics on the show, and I just want to make it so I'm not going to talk about Ed Orgeron's politics. Did he let some things go haywire last year? Sure. He's learning from his mistakes. You know how I know that this team is behind Ed Orgeron? Florida and Ole Miss. That's how I know. No stats have to tell me that. Adam Gutierrez says, I don't know about y'all, but I love fired up Blake. I appreciate that. Logan says, showed up a little late to the show. Who Blake mad at? I'm just mad at guys, you can tell them. I'm not going to tell them. I'm just mad that there are people out there that want to send a national or push a narrative because it fits theirs because they got slapped on the wrist. Guys, I have a 2-year-old son, about to be 2-year-old son in the room right next to me. When he does something wrong, he has to get disciplined. LSU disciplined a media member. He's pouting like a little baby, and he wants Ed Orgeron fired. And he's going to do everything he can to do it. So what? He won a national title in 2019. So what? He perfected a season. Juice Washington says, ask Tom Herman about that 3rd and 17. Guys, there are people, and look, I'm going to be dead ass honest. I was a little like, hey man, I want Ed to get the job, but if he doesn't, Tom Herman's a good thing. I'll be honest, I was wrong too on that. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be humble and honest and tell you what I believe. All right, Zach Pearson says he's running a little bit behind. So we will give him a couple more seconds. So that's good. We get to a couple of these comments. Let's see here. Roll Tide what? Or Stephen Miller says, David, every night, boss, Blake's about as straight shooter as you can get. Thank you. Thank you. I try to be as straight shooter of a human being as I can. And I don't look, I'll take the ridicule. Because there's going to be people that are going to fire back at me, right? Like that's going to happen. That's fine. I can take that. But when you start getting someone to come at you, which this is, when you get someone to come at you, don't pout and whine. We have 192 people watching us live. Don't act like you don't know who we are either. You did that the last time. Don't act like you don't know. David says, Blake's shooting truth bullets tonight. We're trying. And there you go. Tom Herman, really? Look, I'm just being honest. Tom Herman didn't work. Texas isn't back. You won a Sugar Bowl. What did he do against Georgia? Oh, we're back. You remember that from Sam Ellinger? We're back. No, you're not. You still suck. Your arm is Rudy Poo. They gonna talk about Ed. The funniest shit alive, man. You know what's just so damn funny? People talking about Ed Orgeron because they want him fired, and they wanted Tom Herman, and Ed beat him. Like, am I the only human being alive that finds that comical as hell? I mean, Jesus, Mary and Joseph. Sweet baby Jesus. Zach Pearson says, might be a few minutes behind, but I'll be up ASAP. Okay, sounds good. So we'll get to a couple of these comments. Let's see. Blake Doucette says, ask Blake, so being Bama lost as much as LSU did players-wise, does this look like a year for LSU? It could. LSU just went through the same thing last year that Alabama's going through. Again, you have a guy named Nick Saban who sometimes doesn't allow that to happen. So we will see. All right, let's get a couple more in here, and then we'll get over to Mr. Zach Pearson. Darren says, Catholic High and LSU grad here. Couldn't agree with you more, Blake. It's total bullshit. Coach O cares more about LSU than our last 5 head coaches put together. Go Tigers. Well, I appreciate that, Darren. I appreciate that. Versus C said, Dick Vitale cost us Musa Cisse. If he had Cisse, we wouldn't have been had rebounding troubles. Maybe you do. All right, last one. Christian Lamar Williams says, Christian should have chilled out and learned more. Don't make hasty decisions when you're mad. when that could possibly hurt your future. I can agree with that to some, but he got as Will Wade would say, he got a strong ass offer from a business, I hear. Kenny says that I'll never forget November 9th, 2019. Neither will I. And this is what Kyle says about Nick Saban. He gives us the double Steve Austins. Oh, hell yeah. Let's get over to Mr. Zach Pearson. But before we do that, we got to talk about our good friend, Mr. John Patton at Area Home Lending, 225-663-2500. That's 225-663-2500. Go to areahomelending.com. That's areahomelending.com. If you mention this show, John will send his team out for a free appraisal. Again, that's 225-663-2500. And tell him Blake Ruffino at AYS sent you on by. All right, my good friend, Mr. Zach Pearson's joining us. Zach, what's happening, my man?
Oh, not a whole lot. What's going on?
I had a pretty big rant to start off the show.
Yeah, I was driving home just now. You gonna woosah before we start talking, or what?
Yeah, I'm gonna calm down.
Okay.
You're okay, but listen, Zach. I mean, let's just start with it here. I mean, Paul Mainieri gets all the flack in the world from LSU fans. I'm sure you felt it as a player, right? I mean, do you ever feel that rage that you just want to kind of come out and defend him? Like, am I the only person that just sometimes gets that rage? I mean, look, you played for Paul Mainieri, and you, I'm sure you feel that, right?
Yeah, I had a really good relationship with Coach Mainieri. So yeah, definitely it irks me sometimes. Listen, the guy's not perfect. No coach is. So I don't mind listening to people who they may have complaints and they can back it up. That's one thing. But there's a different like level of I don't know what they call them, but like nega tigers or whatever. But like that whole thing, I have no tolerance for that. So I'm kind of in the thing. I'm kind of in the team of like, I enjoy debating stuff, but I also don't enjoy just totally baseless emotional, freakouts either.
Oh, well, you're a better man than me because I emotionally just freaked out. Zach, let me ask you a question before we get into this, talking to some LSU baseball. Did you have a pregame ritual? You know, like Joe Burrow had the inside-out sock and the sucker. Did you have a pregame ritual?
I don't know. I don't know if I was ever really locked into any one because I was a reliever. So it's like, even if I would have had a pregame ritual, I would have done all this, like, shooting my wad 4 hours before I actually got to even do anything. So for me, it was like, you know what I was really good at though? I was very good at time managing a nap somewhere in my like afternoon or morning. So I would definitely get naps in. But I mean, aside from that, nothing too crazy. I know that like, so the Thursday nights, we would, the whole pitching staff would go to Mr. Gaddy's. I don't know if that counts as a ritual, but yeah, we would definitely.
Hell yeah, that counts as a ritual. When you got a buffet full of pizza, that's got to count as a ritual, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
I'll give you a great story that I love to tell people this. But so we would always joke, man, the Gaddy's thing ties into so much, but we would always joke that if we would have won the national championship in 2015, we felt like we had a good enough team to do it. We were right into the hunt. And our pitching staff was fully on board. If we win this national championship, we are walking as a Johnny Hole staff into a tattoo parlor, and we are getting a tattoo on our butt cheeks. And this was going to be the tattoo. It was going to be a wheelbarrow, which already is, its own, the whole mentality of the pitching staff is like, you need a wheelbarrow to carry them around, right? We were going to do that. But we were going to have it like NASCAR sponsored by Mr. Gaddy's. That was the design. That was the design. Yeah, we were going to do it too. And we would joke about it a lot. In fact, pregame, whenever we'd break it down as a staff, it'd be like 1, 2, 3 Gaddy's. That's what we'd break it down to before every game. So that ended up getting so big that like our staff was like, oh, we're in. We're doing it. There's no question. Alan Dunn was even like, you know what, boys, I'll be willing to throw some money to the fund if you guys want to do it.
Could you imagine Alan Dunn getting a wheelbarrow tattoo sponsored by Mr. Gaddy's? Wouldn't have that been great? God.
Oh, man. Talk about a legend. I don't know if he would have actually gotten the tat, but I'm saying he would have been like, I'd be willing to come with you guys and make it like an actual like pitching moment. And then we fell just short, but we were so serious about it that we almost went and got it anyway after losing.
Now that year, who did y'all lost in the Super Regional, correct?
No, we lost in Omaha. Yeah, we almost went and got it done a random night in Omaha after we were out.
Could you imagine? And we'll get to some baseball. Could you imagine like 13 dudes coming in here and saying, "We want a wheelbarrow sponsored by Mr. Gaddy's on Ranch." Yeah.
Man, and honestly, my wife was like, she's way smarter than I am in pretty much every aspect of life. And she was one of the main ones who was like, Zach, you are not going into a tattoo parlor right now. We were trying to find a place that was open at like 1 a.m. We were like, oh yeah, we're doing it. And she was like, no, sir, you're not.
I got a couple tattoos. One of them that I probably should have never gotten. I'm not going to disclose where it is, but it might be in the same general location that says something that no one needs to know.
It's such a great location because it's like I have full control over who gets to see this tattoo.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
That's like maybe one of the only spots that's like I fully control who knows this is here and who doesn't.
Well, Kenny says Phil Moody would have been thrilled, the Gaddy's owner. Okay, well, you know what, Kenny, we got to get in touch with Kenny and listen, this is what we're going to do here. If this podcast tonight gets over 1,000 downloads or we hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, I will go get not you, Zach. I will go get a wheelbarrow. I will go get a tattoo on my ass cheek that with a wheelbarrow and a Mr. Gaddy's tattoo. Sponsored by Mr. Gaddy.
That would be phenomenal. You know, so since we're on the topic of Gaddy's, I'll throw another quick one out there. We went and made the teddy bear, Little Brown Sugar. We made him a random morning. The pitching staff, there was like 7 of us. We went to the mall. We got it done. Well, I don't know if you've ever been in Build-A-Bear, but you can do the little recording to where you press a little button and it's something that you recorded. Well, a lot of people don't know this, but Little Brown Sugar, when you squeeze his hand, it breaks down Gaddy's on 3, 1, 2, 3 Gaddy's. That's what Little Brown Sugar says. Yeah. Yeah, great fun fact.
The great thing about baseball is like that story, right? Like, and that's the great thing. I love it. Look, you mentioned about Alan Dunn. Let's get serious here. I guess we got to be serious. Look, it's good, Zach. We came off a serious rant to some very funny Gaddy's talk. Wait, one more. Did you ever try the macaroni pizza at Mr. Gaddy's? Because I didn't. I felt like I was gonna it was not going to happen.
I'll say it's not great. No, I mean, I think if you go to Gaddy's that many times, you kind of got to try it all.
Oh, dude, I would murk that salad bar, dude. I would just.
Hey, one time we walked in there before a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series. So we go in on a Wednesday night instead this time. Right. And we walk in this huge group of just units. I was the smallest guy on the team, I think. So we walk in this group of units and the poor girl working the door, she just turns it back. She goes, oh God, they're here. So she was like, oh, it's the wrong day.
Guys, it's Wednesday. I don't have to work tomorrow. Please turn around.
We're like, I'm sorry. We should have called ahead. This is a different week.
I love it. Yeah. Zach, you talked about Alan Dunn. A lot of people are really questioning a lot of the stuff that Alan Dunn's doing. You were a pitcher your entire life. You play collegiately and to the next level. What's going on with this bullpen, man? I mean, there's parts of me that looks at this Mississippi State weekend and say, look, they got a lot of young arms. They don't have Matthew Beck out there. Is there anything specific that you're seeing and maybe Alan Dunn could fix going in more into the SEC?
Well, coaching wise, I can't really speak much on like the whole like mechanics things, right? Some guys maybe falling off or whatever. Dunn is really good at catching stuff like that. As far as like pitching changes in game, I don't think Alan Dunn has too much say so on that side. And then when it comes to mentality, Dunn's probably the best I've ever been around for coaching, like lighting the fire under you, getting after it when it matters. So I'm not really sure. I'm not sure what the complaints are and what they are around Alan Dunn. And for those that are around Alan Dunn, I'm not sure how many of them actually have to do with him versus the player themselves. I'll also say I wasn't really able to watch too much this weekend. I had it on all 3 days, but my wife matched for residency Friday morning, so the games didn't really take a priority for me. The scores looked close, but also far enough that it's like we either played a hard fought loss or
We
not.
look like Rudy Poo.
Yeah. What was your opinion of it? The little bit I watched looked decent, but like I said, I was in and out the whole time.
Yeah, we have a question here from Blake who asked both of us. I'll take this first, Zach, but he asked us both. He says, with the state series loss, how much should we worry about this year? This is what I saw in the series, Zach, that I think worried me. And I'm being open and honest here. Paul, a team that led the nation in home runs. Paul then tinkers the lineup to put more defensive guys in the lineup. That worries me a lot. Putting Collier Cranford at second, a guy that has shown that he can't hit well. You try Gio, but then he gets re-injured. He tinkered with the lineup with a team that leads the nation in home runs. A guy like Kane Veloso. I mean, and Zach, you can speak to this more than I do because people act like I don't know baseball. It's okay. Beloso is getting thrown middle third out, and he's trying to pull everything. Okay, take the ball the other way, man. I mean, and that's the mentality it feels like from every hitter on this team. Take the ball the other way. Try to get it through the hole. Do something. From a pitching staff, Zach, this is I guess my biggest complaint. Landon Marceau has not given up an earned run. Okay, move him to Friday. Give Jaden Hill a little bit of relief because that guy on Friday is going to be better than that guy on Saturday. I guarantee you. He needs a little bit of relief. He's only thrown, Zach, not even 30 innings in college. Those are some small things that I think that they can tinker with. That's me. But when you were able to watch it, I know you had a lot going on. Was there something specific that caught your eye during the 3-game series?
Well, actually, it seemed like every time I looked up Saturday night was whenever we were on defense. So I didn't get to watch many at-bats. I thought the little bit I saw from Marceau, he looked great. My only thing would be with flip-flopping those guys is you would throw Marceau into a week where he's on short rest. And that could have no consequences in the long run, right? If you're fortunate enough, it might not mean anything. But worst case scenario, that guy comes out one day short of rest, maybe finds this lingering issue all of a sudden, and then it has these implications a month down the season, right? So I think at this point, unless you find yourself in a bye weekend somewhere, I don't know if you really want to be flip-flopping your Friday and Saturday just because, like I said, it could tinker with Marceau just that little bit if he's already locked into this routine. And I don't think Hill has been bad enough that he needs to be thrown in the back end. Actually, from the little bit I saw from him Friday, he looked fine. Mississippi State pitches the ball very well. I think a bigger issue may be, like you said, if he's tinkering with the lineup a lot. Yes, offensively we've been fantastic, but pitching wise, Mississippi State has been fantastic. So I don't know if that's really the time to be, or the team to be trying stuff out against.
Right.
But
yeah. Well, and that's the biggest complaint, Zach. I mean, I get defense, and look, you're a pitcher. I'm assuming that you love better defense, right? And but for example, I mean, we have guys out here saying, and people saying that a guy. Again, we're not trying to poo-poo on players, but realistically, this is what's going on in real life. Alex Milazzo, and I know that catchers get a lot of leeway, and I want you to talk about this more than me because you were a pitcher. I know that you want a guy that's elite defensively and that can control the game. But at some point, when a guy's hitting below 150, you got to make some tinkering there, right? Like you can't have that guy hitting below 150 and act like that's okay, right? I mean, if Paul Mainieri came to you, let me ask this a different way. If Paul Mainieri came to you and said, look, I know that you like Alex defensively, but you have this other catcher who's hitting 250, 260, 275, but he's a little bad defensively. How bad does that affect you as a pitcher?
Well, so in their specific case, I think it would be tough to make that decision from my standpoint because I don't really know how I don't know where Travinsky is on the defensive side. Honestly, I don't know if I've ever seen him catch yet, like really
He's
catch.
thrown 3 out of 5 batters. I mean, he's not bad receiving the ball. He did give a couple of balls that went passing, but I mean, I'm right there with you. I mean, we haven't seen a lot of him, Zach.
He swings the hell out of it. There's no question there. And then on the other hand, Milazzo is an absolute beast defensively, right? So I think what you got to start doing whenever you're weighing out catchers who may be in opposite camps there, and I'm saying opposite camps, I don't mean it to be offensive to either one of them, but you get what I'm saying. Where you may be weighing out the advantages of an offensive catcher versus a defensive catcher. Well, I think that kind of falls on the rest of your lineup. And if the rest of your lineup is leading the entire nation in home runs, maybe we don't need more offense. But if we're tinkering with the rest of the lineup to add defense to those positions, then you do have to sacrifice some defense in other positions too. So I think it's a balancing act that that really would take a lot of experimentation, and I think it would take a lot of trials. You're going to have some errors with the trials, but with the way this schedule is set up, I don't know if we really have opportunities to be doing that, or we might find ourselves, in a 400 record really quickly in the SEC. So I don't know. Currently I kind of stand in the camp of, I think we leave Milazzo out there. I think we leave our hitters on defense. And then I don't know, man, you try to find a spot for Travinsky. I don't personally like the idea of taking Beloso out the lineup because I know where his potential is. But if he's our coldest bat, then I don't know. It's almost an embarrassment of riches on the offensive side, and they're trying to balance out where the gloves are going to land.
Zach,
I'm personally pretty glad nobody's calling me for that decision.
I know, and look, that's a lot of reason why Paul's taking a lot of flack. Look, you won 1 of 3 against the number 2 team in the country. Let's give him another weekend. You talked about Beloso, man. I mean, look, it kind of feels at times, Zach, he's snake bitten, like he's hitting the ball mega hard all over the place. But again, if you watch his at bats, and I tried to rewind and go back during a commercial break, they are throwing the ball at him middle. Either they're going to really jam him and want him to pull into the shift, or they're throwing him everything middle third outside, and he's trying to pull it. I mean, is it as simple, Zach, as telling the kid, stay back on the ball, let it get deep, and try to drive the ball the other way? Because if he does that, he can be deadly. And that's what a kid that had 10 home runs as a freshman, I mean, he's got the potential. Is it that simple of a fix?
I'm honest. I honestly don't know. I think you tinker with the lineup. I think you maybe put him in different spots. How far has he dropped in the 9 so far? Like, is he still kind of carrying some of the weight at the top end?
No,
he's down, right?
No, he's down. Look, he's around 220. I want to say 225 to 230-ish. Here's the
lineup. Sorry, like I'm talking about like 1 through 9.
Yeah, he went from 4 to 8. I mean, and now he's out of the lineup currently. So yeah, I mean, there's that.
That's a really tough decision to make. Because a guy like Beloso, what I like about him a lot, what kind of draws me to him is you can definitely tell in the dugout, in the huddles, in everything, you can tell the team kind of clings to him, and he's very much one of the batteries on this team. And so it's tough because you have this veteran guy who does have the potential to really ball out. This guy's got the potential to literally change a weekend series against one of these top 3 teams like Mississippi State. So it is tough if this guy's in a slump and you have these other dudes on the bench who are swinging the hell out of it today. It's tough to be like, okay, well, where is the leadership? Where's the value there? Are we losing that if we take him out? What's the balance with all that? That is a very complicated answer. And I mean, like you said, if he's out of the lineup right now, I hope he finds his way back in eventually. And I hope that when he does, it's because he earned it. Because I do think that kid does deserve it, but he needs to be swinging it, because if you're not swinging it, man, you're not going to see the field.
And that's the point. Look, I grew up in a household legitimately 65% of my life where a head coach in baseball said, hey, if you can hit the ball over the fence and you can drive the ball, I don't care if your defense is as worse as Chuck Knobloch, you're going to be out there, and
we'll find a spot. We'll
find a spot for you. Right. And I think it's some mechanical stuff that he's got to fix. He's very level. Like he's not on top of the ball ever. He's always kind of just swinging level. And so instead of just driving down, throw the knob of the ball. That's just the small stuff I've seen. Zach Pearson, former LSU baseball pitcher and minor league pitcher, I might add, is joining the show. Zach, they go to Tennessee this weekend, a team that they have kind of turned it around, a kind of a sleeper team. Mm-hmm. How desperate, and it's so stupid for me to ask this question, but I know the energy around LSU right now. Yeah. How bad not only do they need to win this series, but even possibly sweep a Tennessee?
Yeah, so I think if you're trying to establish yourself as one of these top tier teams, like the top 5 teams in the nation are, I think if you want to consider yourself in that group, you really need to be beating these teams, and that's much easier said than done. Tennessee's going to be able to have some guys that run out there on the mound that are going to try to shut your bats down. They're going to have some dudes who can swing it. They always do. They always will. At the end of the day, I do believe that LSU is the better team. And like I said, dropping 2 out of 3 against Mississippi State and then turning around and putting it on a team that you consider yourself in that tier below you, that throws you back up in there, that puts you back in the discussion. I do think they need to come out, make a statement, leave no doubt. They were off last night due to weather or whatever that was. So I think that, they need to come out fresh legs, fresh battery, and like I said, establish it, leave no doubt, come home with a better SEC record, right? Like come back 4-2, ready for weekend 3. That would be great.
That'd be huge. It would be huge.
Yeah.
We have a comment here from Logan Langley who says, #Zach the nasty person or Pearson. 2024 make baseball great again. Zach, would you become, if you're asked to be the next commissioner of Major League Baseball, would you replace Rob Manfred?
Oh God, yeah. I'd say yeah before I heard the rest of the terms. Yeah.
Hey, look, I don't hate Rob Manfred. I strongly dislike him. That's just me. Craig said something funny here. Craig, he said, this is where Ari Smith makes or earns his salary. Let's see how I can help him. Well, brother, he don't make a salary. There's only 2 coaches, So anyway, Zach, one more question. I'll get you out of here. You're a PS5 man. I'm a PS5 man. Thank you. Welcome. Are we buying MLB The Show with Tatis on the cover or Jackie Robinson on the cover? I'm going Robinson.
See, okay. You see, I'm cheap, right? I'm very cheap. I say I'm cheap. I had a day one PS5. I'm cheap, okay? But no,
right.
But I always seem to buy into those like the special edition covers. And then I take these extra perks that they spend the whole month before release advertising and talking up. And I think okay, yeah, I'll use those perks. I immediately waste them. They don't fit my game at all. And then I just threw extra money down the drain. So I don't know. In this case, it's actually a pretty decent option with Tatis because I do love that dude. Really hard to pass up Jackie Robinson. Almost bit the same bullet for 2K with the Mamba edition. I was almost like, I'm getting that Mamba edition, but then I went Zion anyway. But I think you just kind of got to, I don't know, man, you got to weigh it out. It's tough. They definitely did that for a reason. I'll say that. There's a team of marketers who are not stupid behind that decision.
No, not at all. Let me ask you, I said last question, but do you play the show a good bit?
So, yeah, I buy it. I probably buy it every other year. This one I'm thinking about getting. I typically try to wait until the second year of a new generation of consoles because usually the first year is just the last generation's game with a coat of paint over it.
Right.
So I do acknowledge that next year's MLB The Show is probably going to crush this year's, but I still think I have to get one for the PS5 anyway.
Yeah, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to hit 1,000 home runs with my creative player. I'm going to probably hit 4,000 or 5,000 RBIs, and I'm going to steal a whole bunch of bases at 261 pounds, which was my playing weight. I got to do that. I call myself the Big Daddy, because they can't say.
There you
Here's
go.
another question: do they say person or Pearson when on the video game?
Oh God, it's always person.
Yeah,
I can't change the pronunciations ever. It's frustrating, but
maybe in next gen they could do something like that. You would think so. All right,
I
Zach.
should be able to record my own pronunciation and let
I
them
know that's how I feel. That's how I feel about it too. I mean, if you can turn my TV on when I press a little button, I should be able to, say my last name. I just want you to say.
And then it goes into the database. So where like in the future, they know how to say Rufino for the rest of the games. It can't be that hard to just save it.
You mean to tell me there's no other Rufino on planet Earth that's not playing MLB The Show? Get out of here with that. Get out of here.
Yep.
All right, Zach, we greatly appreciate you joining, man. And as always, thank you for being with us.
Oh, yeah, man. Thank you.
All right, that's Mr. Zach Pearson, former LSU pitcher Zach Pearson. All right, let's get a couple questions in here, and we're gonna hop out. Darren says, #Ask Blake, what other games you play besides the show? I have Madden and Call of Duty right now. That's currently what I got. So those are the two games that I play the most. Mainly because that's the only two that I have. I'm going to be honest. I'm in week 17. Week 17 with the Cincinnati Bengals and Joe Burrow is my quarterback, and we're going to a Super Bowl. I don't care if I got to put that thing on junior varsity. Joe Burrow is winning everything. I'll tell you that. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and head on out. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, my name is Blake Rufino. We will see you guys again tomorrow at this exact time, 7 o'clock. So we will see you then. Y'all have a good night.